Welcome back to Talk to Me or whatever. You already know who it is. Shamu, YungWine.
YungWine.
Um, Pretty much this is for us to practice and train, our skills in our podcasting. We're just interviewing each other, talking about what we've been up to, just kind of, just playing around, having fun and, learning some new shit. Yeah, man, pretty much we're in our front yard. We're in Tucson, Arizona.
Sunny day.
It's very sunny.
A little bit of clouds out here.
If you don't know, we're Tucson, Arizona. We're right by the super drug highway, at least the Phoenix, the capital. It's a quiet town, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean.
Well, if we're talking about geography, it's like Tucson's the second biggest city in Arizona, right behind Phoenix, Arizona, which is the capital. But it's not even the capital that is that big. It's just the surrounding areas of the capital, because there's like Scottsdale, a bunch of like small little towns that are like around Phoenix. And it makes it really, really huge. I heard it's like the fourth biggest like growing city. Anyway, it's the population in the nation. Yeah, I heard that.
It's become a really big foodie town too. A lot of food restaurants have been opening up here. You can see, like, did you know the train tracks with the train container?
Oh, the comics?
The comics.
Yeah, the comics. Yeah,
man. They made a group of stores and restaurants out of the train carts and everything. It's really cool, nice little place. My homegirl has a shop there. Check it out. Shout out to Luna. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got into the podcast game and kind of just jumped into it, right? Just kind of wanted to do it, into it.
The brainchild, before we even got into making any podcast, we were big on making music. So we already did like audio engineering. So we're like, we basically can record podcasts. I don't know where the idea, I think the idea came from you, that you want to start a podcast.
Yeah.
And we've done other podcasts before. I still miss the Mind Benders.
Yeah.
Where we talk about like scary stories, stuff like that. I love that one.
AI radio. We had...
AI radio was
How High Were You?
How High Were You? Oh my God, there's so many memories. We had different podcasts. AI radios when I would filter like SoundCloud and like a bunch of like local like smaller artists.
Yeah.
And I would debut them on my own radio station called AI Radio. It was a podcast where I just showed music. And it was me, other co-hosts. I love that one. Like, so the underground people can get exposure and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That was cool. And then we did the How High Were You? Basically
just remembering stories of times we were under the influence.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I mean, now you can pretty much talk about whatever, but I mean...
Allegedly.
I mean, you also want to hide people's names. This is the important thing about podcasting. When you tell people, like, yeah, you can come on and whatever you want to discuss, you're more than welcome to, because I always give people the freedom to talk about whatever they want. Right. And if you've seen my guests, some of them are very open-minded. Some of them are very narrow-minded. We let them speak their minds. We never question them. I mean, we have questions, but it's never questions to, like, attack them or make them feel some type of way. It's always questions to, like, kind of have them explain their topic or their opinion more eloquently.
Well, in my mind, it goes like this. In all these times I've done donuts around the sun, I've never met you. Mm-hmm. And what has been your experience? Because even though we're stuck on the same planet, we have different experiences, right? So my curiosity just takes over. Mm-hmm. Like, even to like, what did you watch growing up as kids? Like, what was your favorite cartoon? And those insights can paint a picture to a person's inner world. Basically, what I'm trying to gain is like the access to the inner world. How did you get here? And before we can get to where you're currently at, the current climate, you have to address where they came from. Mm-hmm. And I always think like life is like a journey. And the recent analogy I've been using recently has been the water tubing, mm-hmm. like down the river.
Yeah.
You start at one point in the river, and eventually you're going to get to another end. You're going to end, basically. And in between is just adventure. Like, there's one part of, like, when you're going down the river, and you'll see, like, a beautiful forest.
Yeah.
That's a great time of era. Like, that's, like, a very feel-good era, you know? And then eventually you're going to get to, like, a bunch of cliffs, and you might even see a mountain lion. That might be a more stressful era. You know what I mean? So you're constantly going through seasons and phases in your life as we're going down this river. But what's most important, what I've come to find, with all my years of traveling and experiencing adventures, it doesn't really matter where you go. It's who you're with.
Yeah.
Because just going to the supermarket, the most mundane thing with the right people is the most amazing thing in the world. But on the other hand, you can go to the most lavish experiences with like people who are toxic or negative, pessimistic, and you won't have a good time, even though you're in a luxury experience.
I mean, I understand that. Like, that's cool. But the reason why I got into podcasting is because people like talking to me. And when you talk to people, like, you discover different, like you said, different times, different time periods, different era, you know what I mean? Like, I've talked to ladies where, like, they lived in the 1950s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. I mean, until now, you know what I mean? And every time you talk to somebody, they always have a different view of the world because that's how they grew up. And it just trips out because, like, it's like watch the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
when you're watching a documentary about Egypt or Mesopotamia or Aztec culture or indigenous, whatever it is, you're like you're getting a glimpse of that time period and what they noticed, what they saw through a different view of someone that wasn't there, but they piece it together. But when you actually get to talk to that person that was there and saw it and lived it and did it, it's so intriguing to me. It's so amazing because it's like you get to be that person. You get to be that different character, so when they're talking to you and telling you stuff like that. So that's what always interested me about podcasting. That was always the fun aspect of it. Because I mean, we've met different kind of type of people. I mean, different, you and me have different experiences, you know what I'm saying? But either way, we always connect, boom, boom, in some form or some way. And I mean, that's what's crazy. I mean, what would probably be your best podcast to date? What would you think?
So many come to my mind, but just what you just said right now makes you think, like, I wonder if you're very good at reading books, because I'm not a very good reader. I can do audiobooks, but reading books, like, people who I see who are reading, they have very vivid imaginations. They can picture a lot. So the way you're explaining stuff right now makes you think like maybe you would be good at reading. Have you ever read, like, do you like reading?
Yeah, yeah. I did.
Like,
I did.
That's not up there. I don't know.
Okay, the last book. This is so dating myself. Other than comic books, because I do still read comic books. Was the oh my god, John Clancy's. Oh my god,
Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy. There you go. What the fuck is it? Tom Clancy's. What was it?
My God.
Under Siege, I think the book was called. I think that was one. And my brother Junior gave it to me.
Wow.
He gave it to me, and this was probably 4 or 5 years before COVID. No, oh shit, that's longer now.
Many moons ago.
Oh man, that's almost like eight years ago. Damn, that's last time. But I still do read comics because I still collect comics. I'm a big Hulk fan. Whatever. Everybody who knows me knows I'm a Hulk fan. But yeah, I mean, I do like to read. I mean, I like to read articles, and sometimes when I'm watching a movie, I'll put the subtitles on just for the fun of it.
Having a vivid imagination, because like I can see things, but not as vivid. Like, people can really paint a picture, and using your words to paint pictures, like, it's kind of like, I wonder if that stems because we make music, so we want to make sure our listener experiences what we want them to experience with our lyrics. So I wonder if that stems from like you making music, or does that stem from like it just came to you naturally and you use that to make music?
No, so what I noticed, because when I went up with Sophie, when I was with my daughter, I see that she's always like, she's really into art. She loves art. She loves drawing art. She listens to music.
And she can drum on bass.
And she's a good drummer. She can play instruments. She's just like me. She can pick it up and she'll learn it really fast.
Yeah.
But she's really into art. But I see that she's always like imagining, talking, and playing and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, she's really going into detail. And I remember when I was a little kid, we used to watch Power Rangers. This is what I was talking about. My favorite cartoon growing up was Power Rangers. And I always wanted to be the White Ranger or the Red Ranger or Black Ranger, but I prefer to be the White Ranger, Tommy. I always wanted to be Tommy, like, what I'm saying? And I remember we would play, and we would get actual sticks and actual like weapons and like shit that imitated actual weapons from Power Rangers, and we'd be outside and we'd be playing. And I remember you and me would actually hit each other with the weapons, and like we weren't trying to hurt each other, but we were just playing around like that. Excuse me, my diabetes monitor is going on. This is how real it is. So I was remembering, like, I remember we would come up with our own scenarios. And we would get really vivid into it, and our imaginations would go wild. And I would love that, because we wouldn't try to emulate the actual show. We would actually try to make our own thing,
our own story.
Yeah, like our own story. Oh, we're gonna go fight the putties or whatever, and we would do it. And we would travel to the park, and we would actually make it like an actual adventure. Like the only thing I could think of for all the nerds that people that don't understand, like Dungeons and Dragons. If you ever play Dungeons and Dragons, they emulate a scenario of like whatever, like they're in the medieval times, Middle Earth, whatever. You know what I mean? But that's what we would do. But we were actually acting it out.
So before like Dungeons and Dragons became a thing, or like cosplay became a thing, like, or I guess it probably was a subculture, but we didn't know about it back then.
Yeah.
Who knows? Because I guess furries were around forever.
Yeah.
But that's a thing. But yeah, before, like, there's a lot of things that we like before they become like big or have a subculture or have their spotlight in the main mainstream media. I guess we would know about it already. We already do it, and just basically it would just grow from there.
Yeah.
Like even mine, I like music, the music K-pop.
Yeah.
Before, back in 2012, no one heard the music. And for me, the way it started for me was there was a song that went viral back in 2012. It was called Gangnam Style. Well, it was a Korean song, and the video was funny as hell. If you haven't seen it, you can watch it. Yeah, link right below. But that song, there's people who really hated the song because it was dumb. It was like those dumb songs that you would hear all the time. But it was my kind of dumb song, you know what I mean? I was like, this shit's funny, because the music video and the song went hard. Like, it was super catchy, So I would share it and show people the song, and you know how the algorithm works. It starts recommending more shit. And I'm like, who's this? what's that? Finding different artists. And I was like, yo, for me, back in the day, during that time period, the music songwriting of that time in the US seemed kind of lazy, especially how we make music. Like it's very like meaningful, very like also catchy as well, but like you get the feeling it resonates with so many people.
Yeah.
Some people like our song because it resonates. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But when you go just to mainstream media, it doesn't really mainstream music sometimes during that time period. It wasn't as resonate. It doesn't resonate for us. So when I was hearing the music for K-pop, I was like, these mofos are actually trying.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of like Bruno Mars or Chris Browns in a group.
Yeah.
They all dance, they all sing, they all rap, they all fashion, they all do shows.
I mean, from our creative points, I mean, I know both of us are creative. You're more, you want to work on the details. You want to, make sure everything sounds right, looks right, comes out clean. I'm more of the, oh man, the flies are out here today. I'm more of the, I just want to do it. I want to be the creative part. I want to play the bass notes. I want to play the drums. I want to make the song. I just want to do it.
Mhm.
That's the different creative parts that we both have. And that's what I was trying to get to with that Power Ranger thing, because then when we went from the Power Rangers thing, we got into wrestling, and then we made our own belts. Like we actually made our own championship belts. And I mean, like that's what I was saying. Like I wasn't trying to think about it, dream about it. I was trying to do it. Like I was actually trying to do it. I remember I was a hardcore champ. He was the fucking, what were you, Intercontinental?
So, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, I remember we did it and we would lose the belts and our friends got into it. We were actually wrestling. I remember that's one of my friends, he broke his arm because we were doing that. But we were doing it. Like, it wasn't like we were trying to just think of something. Like me, that's what I'm saying. Like my creative side is I'd rather do the activity.
Yeah, because some people have like ideas in their head, like analysis paralysis. Like they have so many ideas in their head, but they just don't execute.
Yeah.
And we move in groove, and that's the difference.
Mhm.
Even though like the details aren't always like, oh, you could do this better. It's like, oh, so then do better, but they won't ever do better.
Yeah.
Like they have the challenge to do better because we're doing it as we basically use what we got at the moment.
Mhm.
Like we didn't have like thousands of dollars to put in wrestling. We were just like, it started off with just fun, and then authentic and genuine, and then it basically just grew from there.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite podcast was actually
Oh yes,
my favorite podcast was with April. April. Oh my gosh, she has like a Canadian last name. I forgot to say it.
but she was really.
If you go back to the podcast on Spotify, you'll see her. She's on there. She was very she was really into her faith.
Yeah,
she was
very
really
interesting.
she was really into the journey of life. And then like when I was talking to her, like this lady spoke her heart out and told us all kinds of stuff. And she came up to me and I was actually at unemployment. I was getting filing for unemployment. I met her. She was talking to me, and she was really like, "Hey, yeah, something told me to talk to you, and I needed to talk to you." And I was like, "Well, I do a podcast. Like, what's up?" And she's on YouTube. We'll try to link her up in the bottom. She's very open-minded. I mean, from where I met her to where she's at right now, and she's always on YouTube talking about her life. I think she's back in school and stuff. She's learning a new trade or something. I forget what it was. Like, I haven't been up on her podcast, but she was very honest. She told us everything, she felt bad, what her direction in life was and everything. And that to me was one of my favorite because it's like, this is a random person who's so okay with us that she's just talking to us.
Two things that stood out for me. One was when she's like, I knew I can talk to you guys because I was protected.
Mm-hmm.
God wouldn't let me put me in harm's way.
Yeah.
It was meant for me to meet you. And God wouldn't put me in a situation that I couldn't handle.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that is huge. I was like,
she was very honest.
That gives me the idea. Like when I hear this, the quote, faith over fear, which has been really recently resonating a lot with me.
Yeah.
Like just have faith and just do it, do it. Faith over fear. You're gonna be scared anyways. Do it.
Yeah.
Faith over fear. And that resonates huge with me. And another thing that stuck out to me was when I told her, I was like, all the bad things you went through is your testimony.
Mm-hmm.
It's because no one's gonna learn from like Mr. Perfect because Mr. Perfect doesn't resonate. Mr. Perfect doesn't resonate. It's like I can't never be that good,
Yeah.
But it's like you go through your testimony and someone who's gone through what she's gone through can resonate with her.
Yeah. I mean, I remember she prayed for us. She told us our own individual things. She was very spot on. But not just that. I mean, I would have to say my other favorite podcasts are either, I mean, this is funny. I just put on a shirt, but this is a shirt right here. The guy that dances on Congress.
Right.
Very fucking positive guy, upbeat all the time I met him. This guy's been like, I think, what was he, like 10 years? Like more than
recovering
alcoholic. He's always out in the clubs. He has a regular job. This guy does not drink. He's super energetic all the time. He has his own pizza. I think they're gonna come out with his own energy drink.
All that.
I mean, all that stuff.
He has his own podcast. I don't know if he started it.
Yeah, I think he's started. Yeah.
Oh, he just started.
I mean, this guy, he helps us out a lot.
He's a mover and groover, man.
Yeah,
mover and shaker. Like he's a door like us.
Yeah. And my third one, Veronica Bartolini.
Oh my God, Vero.
She was another one who came up to me at the gym. I've talked about her before. We've definitely discussed it on the podcast. She came up to me. She said she could see my aura. She liked my aura. She told me some bad stuff were gonna happen. They happened. I mean, she's very in tune to the I wouldn't say, she's a very big empath on me, and she was one of those who helped me kind of like navigate through that. Plus another homegirl as well, but. I mean, they really helped me understand it more. Mm-hmm. Not that like I'm a full empath, but like
it was just time for you to learn. And she was the person that guided you.
She showed me.
It was time for you to learn
a lot. I mean, she's going through some stuff right now. Shout out to her. You know what I mean?
Like I said, we're going down this river of life here, or this journey, or this road, whatever analogy you want to use. And at certain points, you get to certain places where things are going to happen, regardless of whatever you want or how you want things to go.
I mean, I'm only going on a week. My foot surgery. I had a foot surgery and yeah, I'm down right now, but I'm excited to come back up because once I get cleared, I'm back at the gym. It's been like almost a year and a half that I've been to the gym.
Back at it like an addict.
Yeah.
My favorite podcast has to be, I loved Mind Benders. Mind Benders was my brainchild. I wanted people. Huh?
I didn't think about the old ones, but yeah, you're right.
Oh, what you said?
I know.
Did you mean of this?
Yeah, but I'm not.
You didn't say.
No, I didn't specify, but yeah, on the podcast. I mean,
yeah, Mind Benders because like that's kind of like my brainchild as well as AI radio. Mm-hmm. But because I just something that I was interested in. Like I would watch YouTube videos of like the Reddit stories of like people telling like scary stories or telling their stories on Reddit, you know. But it's a YouTube video, like a text to audio. So you basically play in the background and tell stories. Well, I wanted one about ghost stories because who hasn't had a paranormal experience? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, for the most part, I guess. Well,
no. A lot of people have. What I was gonna say is a lot of people have them, but they don't like to speak about them because it's like kind of taboo, passe, whatever. Like, because people judge you. Oh, you saw a ghost, like you know what I mean? And that's kind of weird. It's like but we've all had those encounters.
And one thing that's huge is like we give a voice to a subculture. Like this is a subculture of like even like the air radio or even like all the other stuff we ever did, wrestling and everything, giving a voice to a subculture who are not on mainstream, basically. You know.
Shout out to Tucson Paranormal Finest.
See,
they've come on the podcast.
And then the story that sticks out the most is one of them was there's two of them that comes out the most. One was Shark Bait. Shout out to Shark Bait, Daniel. Yeah. He's like I was like a front desk worker for a hotel, and somebody kept. It was like 4 stories or something like that. Like a couple stories, and the person called in to the front desk saying, hey, the person next door is being really loud, or upstairs is being really loud. Can you have them quiet down? He's like, yeah, of course. And he looks for that room, and no one's renting that room out. Yeah. No one's there. So he tells the security guard, he's like, hey, do you want to go with me to check out this room? He's like, so it's just something they're saying they're making a lot of noise, but no one's supposed to be there. And the security guards are like, no. And the others are like, yeah, me neither. I'm going to make them to ignore it. Then later that night, that person who we complained before called again. Hey, they're still at it, like an addict. Like, what the hell's happening? And he's like, I told him, like, I told them, and I'm sorry about that. If you like, I can just move you. And luckily, the guy said, yeah. And he was like, oh, thank Jesus, I don't want to go up there, you know? So he just moved the room, basically. And I was like, dude, like, no one was supposed to rent that room out. No one was there. They saw nobody on the camera. Where'd that come from?
That's crazy.
That's what
you had your own experiences. I mean, a lot of people you talk to, they have their own experiences, and it sounds like movie shit. Like, oh, that sounds like some poltergeist shit. But you talk to them, and they're so honest about it. Like, they don't. You could just tell when someone's speaking to you honestly because they go back to that moment, that fear they felt. Like they have that emotion attached to that memory. And people who fake it, they don't have it. They can just tell it plainly, like, oh yeah, like I was walking down the street and I saw like a guy run across the street and a car hit him and there was no car there. Like, you know?
And for me, it's like ultimately action speaks louder than words. If I see it, I believe it, but I can't tell if the story you're telling me is true or not true. I'm never gonna know because I wasn't there, you know. But at the end of the day, it's still a fun story. So I enjoy that. It's entertaining. But the second story I was going to tell you was the guy that was your manager at the Earth Healings.
Oh, yeah.
We did an interview with Tucson's Finest Paranormal. And my favorite part is all like, you can find me on Instagram under just Tucson Finest. That's it. I was all like, this boy is a killer. No, but he said that he had videos of this. He had videos.
Shout out to Justin.
Is it Justin? Yeah. I forgot his name. I'm sorry, Justin. Shout out to Justin. Sorry. But he had a video of like in his bathroom, there's like 4 light bulbs as light fixtures in his bathroom over his mirror, and the 4th one has never worked. They've replaced the light bulbs. They've brought in like the technician or something like that to come in and get it fixed, but the light would not turn on. So one day he got the shower, or he was in the restroom and getting ready for the day, and the light flickered on. And he's an empath, so he can feel and spirit. I think he can see spirits too. I don't know, but at least he can feel spirits. And I remember that. And he was like, the light flickered on and off, and it stayed on, and then it flickered off. And he was talking to the spirit. We think it's a spirit, and he's like, it's okay, you can turn it on. And the light turned back on, and it stayed on.
Yeah.
And then it flickered off again. And he was like, that light's never worked the whole entire time I had that apartment.
So yeah, I remember that interview with Justin. That was pretty crazy interview. I mean, now he's dancing. He was always a dancer, but now he's dancing again. He's really good. I actually might have to get him on the podcast again about that, or just talk to him again just to catch up, whatever. But yeah, I mean, we've been everywhere. We've traveled to podcast. Hopefully, we can keep doing this for a while. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I can get those DJs people that I've been talking to try to come in and get Christina Villa back on here, and she gets to finish her astrology. Sorry. Her little thing. I know she's been wanting to get on, but she's been super busy as well. I mean, it's just hard to get people because everybody's so busy now. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
I'm glad I went to the Zoom because our most recent episode that's out right now with Vanessa King and our local Sun Devil. She's from ASU, an ASU graduate. She's now teaching abroad in Spain. So I was like, we went international. I was like, we're international. And that'd be cool to go international and do some episodes somewhere else. Like that'd be cool, you know what I mean?
I mean, like that's the goal, you know, eventually go to other places and talk to people. Like I said, I mean, like I've always been interested in like, this is kind of stupid, but like gangs in different cities, you know, I've always thought like, you know, Bloods, Crips, Sureños, you know, gangster disciples, vice lords.
Again, as you see, the trend is giving a voice to a subculture.
Yeah. And like, you know, just, you know, Hell's Angels and all that stuff, like everything, you know. And it's always cool to meet those people. And I've met a vice lord, I've met a gangster's disciple, I've met freaking Latin kings. You know what I mean? Like I've met all these people, and I've been in some, like when I went to Los Angeles, I didn't think I was gonna be in Cypress, Laguna, fucking Huntington. I didn't think I was gonna be in Long Beach. I didn't think I was gonna be able to travel East Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? But I was able to go to those places and see what the culture was. You know what I mean? That to me is crazy as hell. You know what I mean? Like not a lot of people get to experience that. You know, and that's what I want to do. And it's always cool to talk to people and get their sides of it. Because, you know, like I said, if you have an open ear, you don't have a judging ear, because most people will judge you. They'll talk more, they'll say more. They're more comfortable with you. And I like that.
How do you like my interviewing style? Because before I wasn't interviewing with them, I was just doing the camera stuff. But it got enough ums and like and I was like, we got to push the narrative of this like story. So I started asking questions. Yeah. So I was the guy asking questions in the background.
No, that's perfect. I mean, I think you're the one, if I drop the ball, you pick it up real quick and you see that. Like, I mean, it's really interesting. I think you and JJ, shout out to James, you guys pick it up where I drop it. I mean, sometimes I don't have any questions. I'm just listening and no questions pop up. But then one of you guys get a question like, oh, let me ask you this, or hey, what do you think about this? And I mean, that's what carries the show. That's why I got you guys as hosts, because like I didn't want to do this by myself, but sometimes I remember that I just focus on listening too much because I want to hear the person, that I forget to ask questions in between, stuff like that.
I couldn't tell because he always interrupts me.
Oh, whatever. I think my questions are better when I think of them. Not
sure. But it's because when you think about them, you think about it in the spot.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the middle of explaining something, and I have like step 1, step 2. Like he's the actor, I'm the screenwriter. So like I know exactly how I'm going to structure it, and I get to like question 1, part A, and then he thinks I start talking. I'm like, and I just listen because I'm like, again, we're pushing the conversation anyway. So it's like that's the whole point of a podcast, you know. Yeah. And then I eventually circle back to like question 1, part B, you know what I mean? So just to get us back on track. But for me, it's like a conversation. It's like someone told me like, I can't believe my bill was so high and my cat at the animal hospital, and my cat died. Like that whole entire sentence, if you just write it out, because I know you're very appreciative, if you can see it in your mind, all these little words that are in there that you can pull strings on and like make a branch of conversation. In other words, like, I can't believe how much my bill was at the animal hospital and my cat died. So I could say, how much was the bill? Because the first thing said, it's the first thing they said. Or I could say like, your cat died. I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences, right? Or the person says like, at the animal hospital, which one did you go to? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like all these little.
Was it the one in Walmart?
Like all these little sub sentences that I can pull on, little strings I can pull on to push to guide the conversation. Yeah. Right. So when people are talking to me and you just like listening, at that moment I'm listening, but at the same time I'm trying to see where I want to pull it to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like if something like if I don't know something, that's when I pop in because I know if I don't ask it, then I forget. And I also got to remember not to take the story because sometimes I'll do that too. I'll take the story and go with it. Not like take the story, like I'll take it away from them. Like I'll put it in my input or whatever. So I got to remember like kind of just to chill on that. But I mean, like I think you're a good podcaster. I mean,
I want criticism too. What's up?
I mean, like I said, sometimes I'm like, dude, this fool's talking about something that's irrelevant, but what's his motive on it? You know what I mean? But then when I see you pull it back, I'm like, okay, he was circling around it to get to his question somehow or some way to make it more interesting for the viewer. You know, and to me, like that's just like at first it was annoying, but I'm like, no, now I know what he's doing. You know what I mean? And it's like
There's a method to the madness.
yeah. Like I said, like it's just we're learning. This is like our fifth season 5. This is why we had to interview each other because I was like, we got to practice our craft, and this is what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? So,
And then going from like season 1 up into season now 5, like what have we grown from? What these experiences? What have we learned from? You see, I just did it right now. The stringing off the sentence you just said. I could have asked anything else, but I was like, for going from season 1 to season 5, what have you learned? Like, what's your biggest takeaway from these experiences?
I mean, and we learned editing, we learned timing, we've learned um, to cater to the guests. Like because some of them come and yeah, we'll buy alcohol, we'll buy whatever, just to make the comfortable, the comfortable, the guests feel comfortable. You have to make them feel comfortable. If they want to do it at their house, you got to be able to travel. If they want to do it on their time, their day off, you got to be able to accommodate them. Like, because you get the more interesting stories. Like if you go back and listen to our podcast, you understand people are telling us stuff that they would not tell other people. Not because they don't need to be telling other people, just because they're comfortable enough to trust us to give out that information. And I'm talking about like we're not trying to violate HIPAA laws. We're not trying to violate government laws. That's why we have to say this is for educational purposes only. And I always say it at a random time in the show, so I'm on point right now. So, but I mean, you have to understand people are sharing their stories with you willingly, and we don't push. We might nudge a little bit, but when they say no, I can't discuss that story. Like we just did one with the GED. There was a lot of stories. One came out of something me and him did allegedly, and he gave you the PG version of it. And it was
Allegedly.
yeah, it was like crazy than that. But I mean, like I'm saying, the most thing I've learned is to be like I said, editing, timing, and then it was cater to the people.
Well, a lot of people, I feel like a lot of guests, like have so many ideas they want to say. They're not as eloquent as us. Like we're wordsmiths. We actually make music and do stuff with our words that we can help them, like guide them or express what they're trying to say. Because a lot of people have so much emotions or so much experiences that they can't put it into words. We're able to like help them do that with the pushes, like nudging,
Yeah.
like it's like so, and then asking like clarifying questions, like probing a little bit, like asking more clarifying questions, and they can basically get what their stories out and it's you get the stories out. Kind of like therapy, the ability to relieve yourself and release like all the backed up like trauma or backed up like curiosity or see who it resonates with or not being judged or being understood, being seen, all this stuff.
That's why I love like I said, a couple of Tony. Shout out to Tony. Freaking when we went to his house, he made us feel comfortable. Like he was like, hey, do you guys want drinks?
Who's Tony?
Tony, remember the shroom guy, Tony Lopez.
Oh,
my homie,
shit,
Tony.
yeah.
So or Anthony Lopez, if you look at him on social media.
Yeah. I add him on Facebook.
And add him on Facebook, man. He's cool as hell, man. He grows
Super cool.
mushrooms, lion's mane. Oh my God, what other? He grows mushrooms, man. But he grows different varieties, food, edibles, all that stuff, psychedelics. So, legally. So, he was really cool, but he made us feel comfortable. Like shout out to She-Hulk.
Which is rare. Yeah.
Shout out to She-Hulk. She gets us on her podcast all the time, man. And we talk super soldier programs, we talk dreams, we talk. She's always made us feel like comfortable when we're on her show. She never asks us any crazy questions. I mean, she does ask some crazy questions, but I mean nothing that's like not comfortable to answer. And what was her guest? I forgot her homie, Chris, right? Chris? Cooper. Shout out to Cooper. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. I'm bad with names, but I mean, he was cool too. I mean, he definitely was talking about the Super Soldier program, and he said that he thought he recognized me as well too. That was crazy to talk to him too, and seeing different aspects of people's lives. You know what I mean? Like people seen and talked about him.
Although my stories aren't as intense as his, I did have some of my own experiences or recollections or remembrance of experiences, and I remember telling her about a person that I've heard about in the secret space program. I think it's like something Dawkins, but they called him Hulk because when he took the serum, he was bigger than the rest of the super soldiers. So they called him Hulk. But I told him like it looked like him, but he looked different. He looked a different way. Come to find, she sent me a link of a video when he was much younger, and it was exactly what I saw.
Yeah.
And I was like, no motherfucking way.
Yeah.
Like, how is that like true? You know?
No,
So
she'll tell you. She'll tell you.
that was a big huge takeaway from me. It was a shock and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's fun talking to people, and then like like I've talked to flat earthers. I've talked, and a lot of them are scared to get on the podcast because they feel like I'm going to judge them and like try to disprove them. It's nothing like that. But I mean, when I've talked to them in person, like I could see how you can think what you think. My biggest thing is you're welcome to have your opinion and your thoughts. That's okay. If you can't debate them with actual facts, there's no reason to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people come out like, "Oh, I just heard," or "I saw," or someone told me. It's like, okay, what you believe is bullshit. It's fake. It's fake news. It's not real. Like if you tell me like, well, what I've looked up, or what I've discovered on my own accord, or through my research or something, you know what I mean? Then I go like, okay, you looked it up on this. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like, oh, when people ask you like your sign, what's your sign? Yeah, okay, I can understand how it sounds like bullshit. I get it, whatever. But some people that looked into it, that actually studied it, like you can tell, like they have to use the stars, they have to use the time, they have to use the movement of the earth. They know how to break it down to like certain ways to get like an answer. Like it's not 100% true, but sometimes it's a little accurate. You know what I mean? So I mean, like it's crazy to talk to people. Like I love how people break stuff down.
Everyone has their own level of interest and expertise, and their own interest is what we like kind of like extract from them because for them that's like what their life is, like their biggest hobby or their biggest like their way, their method of understanding the world. Like some people choose religion, some people choose like astrology, numerology, all these things. It's just their method of trying to understand the world, which we're all trying to do.
I mean, I through growing up, we were two different. We've been two different people. I'm out there. I'm a was an introvert because I'm outside all the time.
Extroverted.
Extroverted. I'm always out here. I was always in the streets, always talking to people, always trying to discover new things. Did a lot of stuff in my life. I talk about it a lot on the podcast. So if you've been watching the podcast, you know what I'm talking about. See how you hook them in? Yeah, so you got to watch the back podcast to understand what I'm talking about. But I know you too, you've done some stuff, not as crazy or insane like in my life, but you've always been to yourself, So it's crazy, two different aspects of life that we've dealt with. But we work together very well.
Mm-hmm. It's just the contrast principles, opposite, not just opposite tracks, but like the full spectrum of like colors, for example. You can handle one part, I can handle the other parts. Type of deal. It's like the whole contrast because we're like on both ends of the scale that we can handle everything in between.
Yeah, like I said, like I would never thought of. I'd be cool with some dude. I've known Chill Wealth almost 18 years. Met the dude when I was young, you know what I mean? Like, and he's a Crip from here, and I was born in the blood side, and he's cool as fuck. He's one of my coolest homies, you know what I'm saying? And like we grew up in a time when we weren't supposed to be homies.
Your guys' acquaintances,
yeah,
is a legal adult. It's of an adult.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
18 years, that's crazy.
Like it's crazy to think like how I talked to him and we weren't supposed to be cool homies, but we had a cool homie that just was cool with both of us. And to say, hey, you guys got to get on a song together. We got on the song. We realized we were both almost the same dude. He was a chill, quiet dude, like to smoke a lot. I'm a loud, quiet dude, but I'm like, I like to smoke a lot. We were both just happened to be, growing up, you had to be for the hood, but you're still cool. You know what I mean? Tucson's a small little town. Well, it was a small little town, but there was like only a few gangs, and I knew people from all the gangs in Tucson because of the respect factor I had. But now I get to talk to them and interview some of them. That's crazy to think about. Like that was a big no-no back in the day.
I am socially adept in everything, and very good socially. But from my experiences, for example, when I did the overdose at high school, when I overdosed, I was like, oh, all the homies, like he had left our school already, and I was in there, and I overdosed in high school, and when I came to, the homies were there. So for me, I learned in that moment, I was like, oh, they're like only as cool as I see them during lunchtime or see them in class. But aside from that, like they don't really fuck with me. You know what I mean? Fuck with me. Like they're cool, but they don't fuck with me that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't learn that until I was older.
Yeah, so I learned that earlier. So, and then I also learned watch who you keep your energy around because there's some leeches out there that'll take your energy. So I had to learn like watch who you fuck with. I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. That's for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That means more to me than, you know what I mean? So it's not that I'm not social. Like, I'm always talking to everybody, like people that we go to stores.
Yeah.
We go to like the restaurants are right nearby. I know people by their first name.
Yeah.
They know me by first name. So I'm like, bro, like, yeah, like, it's cool.
No, I'm just saying, like, I was more outgoing. Like, I was always going to house parties. I was always going to different neighborhoods.
I get what you meant.
And then, like I said, like,
but I'm not exactly introverted.
I mean, I was just really like, I was kind of like a dog. Like, I was kind of ignorant to the loyalty factor. Like, I was just loyal to be loyal. And then when I got older, I was like, dude, that doesn't.
You were programmed, dog. You were
yeah, like I said, like I just like when I grew up, it was like we had to be hard all the time and be like, you know, chilling and out here doing stupid shit. But I mean, it was just the time and the era that I just grew up in. It was just.
And for me, learning what I learned,
I was a '90s kid. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like kind of like that mid '80s, '90s kid kind of era.
Well, you were born in the late '80s.
Yeah.
Well, we were both born in the late '80s,
yeah.
So we're like '80s babies. But we grew up in the '90s.
Yeah.
But see, not what the hell was I gonna say. I was gonna say just learning those ideas of like watch who you keep around you type of deal. Like that was the reason why I was like, oh, okay, so that's why I was like, watch who you get involved with, basically. But you didn't learn that till later on.
Yeah.
But like for me, I was like, when I was growing up, it was high school. That's what I was trying to get to. When I was in high school, I thought I was the weird one because even to this day, people are like, oh, let's smoke and drink. And that's very rare that I'll do it. I'll still drink and smoke and all that every now and then. Yeah. It's very, very rare. But they were like, I want to do it every single weekend. Let's go party. Let's go do it every single weekend. And I'm all like, we did that last week. Like after doing it first over routine, you know, I'm like, I'm bored of this. You know, I get bored fast. So it wasn't stimulating me. I was like, I'm no longer that. And I was like, let's go do something else. Like anything else. You know what I mean? Like, let's go out to eat. Let's go to hiking. Let's go to Mount 11. Let's go to a museum. Like anything else, but I don't give a fuck. You know, like that's boring to me. Yeah. But the circle that we were around, the social circle we were around, they were still on the, I want to continue to do that, smoke and drink and whatever. And then I was like, maybe I'm the weird one. I'm fucked up. Let me talk, man. Let me talk my shit. Let me talk my shit.
No, I'm just saying like.
And I thought I was like, maybe I was the fucked up one. I was weird because I stood out. Like I didn't want to follow the crowd. So what I ended up doing was I ended up learning about like self-development, self-improvement, self-help, like books and audiobooks like that, to later find out maybe they were fucked up with like trauma and like negligent parents or whatever the hell they were dealing with, right? So I was like, oh, so just basically they're not my crowd. Yeah. Is what I ended up summing it down to. And now the idea is like, what really rings true to me is like the slogan that says like the phrase that says like, show me your 5 closest people and I'll show you your future. Yeah. Like who you keep around you is
who's gonna carry your casket.
Who's gonna carry your casket? Who's your pallbearers? You are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with. So watch who you hang out with. And after that, I was like, nobody that I go to school with, I was the only one that worked. I had a car. I had money. So everyone's all like, hey, can you take me here? I never paid for gas my senior year. Yeah. Because everyone was like, can you give me a ride? I was like, give me gas money. And I never paid for gas. So like, I was Uber before Uber. How crazy. Hey, that's pretty good. Yeah. 4 stars. So like I said, yeah, I had no snacks or no. My AC would work on or not sometimes. But it is what it is. But
no, like I said, a different role.
But before Uber was around, I was doing Uber basically. And so I never paid for gas. But I was like, damn, like these people, like when it's convenient for them. Like I say to myself, everyone's always selfish. I don't talk about me. I talk about you. I talk about what you got going on with your world because only you deal with you more than you did anybody else. Like they say the phrase is like, if you're lonely when you're alone, you're in bad company. Which is like if you're lonely because you're alone, like you're very negative, probably anxiety, probably whatever. If you're lonely or feel bad when you're alone, you're in bad company. You're your first you should be your first best friend.
Yeah, I think the slogan that comes to mind when you say that is you have to learn to be alone. Because that's when you find the tranquility, and then when you get used to loneliness, that's a problem. Because then you're like, man, dude, like I'm glad I can just chill. Like I said, dude, I'm in my room, you're in your room. We're right next to each other, you know what I'm saying? But I don't bother him, he don't bother me. You know what I mean? Hey, you want to play Brawlhalla? Yeah, dude, let's get down. Like, that's how easy. I want to go get lunch? Like, yeah, cool. But it's not like I'm in your fucking room. Like, I'm not in your space chilling in your room unless we're making music or something. Mm-hmm. But I get that, man. I mean, that's you made a good point. That's a valid point. You have to be able to know how to self-develop yourself.
There's lonely and then there's alone. Yeah. It's basically distinguished. Yeah. And although they're very similar, they're worlds apart.
I mean, I know disrespect saying this, but like if you're one of those people who has always been in a relationship you can't be alone.
Codependency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's not that's
Or
not a
people
problem.
who like distraction. Well, I find a lot of people who do distraction, like they always got to be busy. They always got to be doing something because facing themselves is scary. I'd rather be like making other people's problems my problem because I don't want to do it myself. That's huge. A lot of people
Yeah.
do that.
I mean, I gotta say this.
It resonates. It resonates. See his face.
No, no. Well, I mean, I'm saying like I have to say this coming from a Mexican background, you know, to the Latin community, whatever, Chicano, whatever you want to be called yourself. You know, so I'm talking to all, you know, all my Latin people, whatever. If you need therapy, go to therapy because that helped me out a lot. Um, I realized, you know, I'm a recovering addict, alcoholic, pill popper, cocaine, all that. I've done all that, ecstasy. I've done it all. You know, psychedelics, whatever. Um, Realizing that I was masking pain that I had for so long, due because of my dad issues, due because of how I was brought up, you know, just the way that I discovered myself now, it's a lot more easier to speak about it with people because we're told, you know, you got to hold everything in. That's not true. You just need someone to listen to you that's not biased. Someone who's just going to listen to you, not give you their opinion, because everybody has their opinion. But when you talk to like someone like a Mexican dad, Mexican mom, tia, friend, whatever, it's always like, "Ah, ponte las pilas," or, you know, muérete el huevo, or ponte, you know, whatever, just go through it, trabaja, like, you know what I mean? Like, put it, stuff it down. That fucks a lot of people up, man. And I realized that later in life. Like I said, I've discovered a lot of things later in life that kind of like, you know, I wish I knew I was younger, but I'm knowing it now. That's why I want to share that information out there. Seek therapy, talk to somebody, whatever you need to do. It's not wrong. It's not, it shouldn't be frowned upon, I guess I should say. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah.
And humbly saying, humbly, I'm him. I've been him for so long, I don't know how to not be him.
Yeah.
But eventually everyone catches up to me, ends up doing what I've been doing. It's like, you got to find your own way. And I have the unfortunate luck of if I help somebody, I get fucked. Like if I help somebody, like, you know, like my mom, te doy la mano, te ganas el pie.
Yeah.
Like I give you a hand, you take my arm. I'll give you, you know, I'll give you a hand. Like basically, like that's how it always ends up happening for me. So I'm like, I gotta learn to like not help as much or guide or help people who can help other people. But if I help you directly, it's like,
Take it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I always end up getting fucked.
Yeah.
And again,
I mean,
watching who takes your energy.
very true.
And again, 4 quarters as opposed to 100 pennies.
No, like I said, man, this is stuff people need to know, need to hear, because
Well, like I said, like he's on a different spectrum where he was just a wild child, and me just like more disciplined. And we've all had our experiences, so like everything in the middle is like we can speak on.
yeah.
We can basically.
I mean, it comes from shit, dude. Tell your kids, live your dream, do what you want. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, tell them what's right from wrong, but let them discover themselves. You know what I mean? And that's what I figured out. Like growing up, like I was trying to discover myself. Did I do it the right way? No, I didn't. Did I have a lot of experience? Yes, I had a lot of experiences. Did I learn a lot of stuff? Yeah, I learned some stuff here and there. But there's like, you know what, dude? Like, if I would have focused on something more positive, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And not that I'm in a bad place, because now, like, I'm a minimalist. Like, I don't need a lot. I just need food. I need a place to sleep, and I'm cool. Like, there's no, you know, I have a little bit of cash in my pocket. Like, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want, let's go get dinner right now. Let's go get lunch right now. I'm all thinking about dinner. So, you know what I mean? Like, what do I want? Do I want, you know, do I want freaking McDonald's, or do I want to go get a steak? Like, I can have you know what I mean? Like, well, growing up, we didn't have that option. It was like, damn, man.
Well, I did.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, you know, I didn't have that option. It was either like, damn, dude, we're gonna eat this can of beets. You know what I'm saying? Not that but I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, I put myself in that position. Like, I didn't.
When I was like 13, I started working with our dad.
Yeah.
And I constantly did it. Back then when I had no bills, not even a cell phone. I didn't own a cell phone until I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have a cell phone. And so $100 every weekend for no bills. Like I would eat out all the time. Chinese food all the time. Like that's just because I was working, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, people.
To this day, I still work.
I mean, I'm not going to go into a whole rap, but people are just lazy. That's what it is, laziness. People want to get a lot of money from less work. And I get it. Like, if you're not going to put in the work from the bottom, you got to start somewhere at the bottom. You have to set your base. Without a good base, you're not going to reach the top. You're not going to reach your full potential. Like, I learned that now.
A foundation.
And you need the foundation. You need that, like, good support system. You need, you know, like, that's what I'm telling you. Like, people work at McDonald's. Like, look, man, if you're an older person working at McDonald's, I respect you. You get up, you put food on your table, regardless. Oh, that's a teenager job. It was a teenager job. Now it's anybody who needs a job right now. Like, get a job, like, whatever it is. Work your way up. If it's temporary, move. Like, you can always get a new job. I don't know why people feel like they need to stay somewhere. Like, you can always switch jobs. You know what I'm saying? Leave respectfully. Give them the 2 weeks. You
And
know,
this is why I don't
respectfully.
tip.
You know what I'm saying? Leave respectfully. But I mean, like, this is what I don't tip.
My tip to you is get another job.
Well, I mean, like I said, I grew up in, I worked bars security.
Gratuity, yeah.
So I know what it's like when people need to get tipped. You know, what I mean, that's how they survive, whatever. But like I said, getting to that final point, if you work hard enough, you'll get what you want. Especially if you're like me, a minimalist. I have a lot and I have very little. Like that doesn't make sense to you, but to me, it makes perfect sense because I don't need anything. Like I don't really need anything right now. Like I'm cool.
And like I said, like I've already learned from just traveling, it's not where you go, it's who you're with.
Mm-hmm.
And the people you keep around you can accelerate your journey or get to your goals, or they can hold you back dead weight.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's you gotta criticize your like for example, like they're saying like, hey, it's a business term because I'm big into business,
mm-hmm.
but like they're like, hey, if you were to do a 3v3 and you could pick any basketball player to be on your team, dead or alive, who would you pick? Somebody huge like maybe Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson. You heard that one? Michael Jordan, maybe Kobe, whoever the hell you're gonna pick, right? And then if I ask you like, hey, if you guys are a business today, who would you get on your team? My cousin, my homie, he from over here. It's like, no, you should have the same criteria for your friends, type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Because the quality of life depends on who you keep around.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think like if you ask me that question, I think like I'll definitely get you and Jeffrey because I know Jeffrey's a mover and he'll work hard and he'll learn what he's got to learn to get there. And you because you got the marketing, you got the people skills and everything, and I'm just a workhorse. I'll work. You know what I mean? Regardless of what it is, I'll learn it. And once I get it down, you ain't gotta worry about me. I'm off to the races. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a workhorse. Like so that's what I would say. But I mean, you're right. These are basic stuff people should learn that they don't teach you in school.
They don't teach you in school. And then like I always looked up like when I was doing my self development, I always looked around in my social circle or my network of people and said, who do I want to emulate my life like? And I couldn't think of one person. And I'm the youngest out of 6. Mm-hmm. Closest person I got to was, the brothers before you, mm-hmm. Three. Closest I got, but I was like, he works a lot. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to do that. There's people out here like working, making content like I do, and they make money off of that. So I'm like, that sounds, and they're getting the same checks as.
I mean, I think it's the thing that our oldest brother told us, work hard, save your money, freaking invest. He's always told us that, and that's exactly what we've all done. We just worked hard. I mean, you're the only one who's done the opposite. You work less. You know what I mean?
I work less.
Yeah. But I'm saying,
but I'm the one that's got done more.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I've traveled with you, bro. I mean, luckily you're my brother, and I get to travel this life with you. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I like him. He's always told us like, work hard. Save your money, do this and that.
Which is good sound information.
And it is good information. But it takes me back to the Rothschild effect, like where he's like, I'm not creating thinkers, I'm creating workers.
Like, Rothschilds.
You have to learn yourself everything out here in this world that's going to benefit you. And that's what I've learned myself. You have to research your own shit. You have to understand, like, look, man.
And even then right now, it's people who are doing, like, making even more money than us, doing even less than us.
Yeah,
so networking is huge. Like, knowing people around you because we don't even know that exists. You know what I mean? So, like, that's going to be...
It's like us, dude. We didn't know we had to get our own recording equipment. We didn't know we had to get our own cameras, our own mics. We didn't know any of that. We learned it. And you didn't have to spend time learning how to edit, but you did. You didn't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't know we needed equipment. We got these mics. We got, you know what I'm saying? We got homies that help us share our shit. Like, we're fucking shouting out homies, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't know we had to do shit like that. Not that we have to do it, but it's like, you got to make those connections, you know what I mean?
Networking.
People who want to have that drive, those are the people you want to hang out with.
And from one of the people, it's just like, if they win, you win.
Yeah. If
you win, I win. Like, dude, this homie right here, he started off with just like 5 followers, and now look, he's at 5,000. That's huge. Like, I was there for that. That's cool to be like a support for someone else because they turn around and support you too. It's like, hell yeah, dude. Like, we all win. It's a network.
Shout out to Blue Gorilla because I'm always shouting him out. Yeah, man, he was honestly the first person I lived with that actually showed me how to like kind of be of an adult. He was kind of like, look, dude, you've been partying, you've been in kid mode your whole life. Like, sat me down, told me some real shit. Like shit that my brothers told me, but I never listened because it was my brothers. Like, I'm like, oh, fuck you, whatever. But it is what it is. Like I said, I was very bad. But he sat me down like, yo, dude, like, if you're gonna live with me, this is what's up. You gotta pay this, you gotta do this, da, 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 da. And I took it as an internship. That's what I took it as. You know what I mean? I learned a lot from him, and so like I shot him out. Everybody.
And I think it's because he had what you wanted.
Yeah.
Like you at that point you were big on like body fitness and becoming a
Strongman.
a strongman, and he was there. So to you listening to what you've already heard dozens of times before,
I implemented it.
Well, not just that, but it came from an actual authority figure that you valued.
Yeah.
So like it's huge. So like again, like it comes back to networking. Like
I mean, you gotta understand that you're never gonna stop learning, regardless of what your age is.
For sure.
Technology is always growing. People are always growing. Trends are always changing. Trends are coming back. Like you learn different stuff, and this is where you gotta learn from the older people and the younger people. You gotta stay relevant, and you gotta stay, connected to people, because you don't understand the amount of knowledge that's out in this world is vast. That's out in the universe is vast. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff you learn every day, it's never gonna stop. That's a cool thing. That's the cool thing. And that's one of the best things about podcasting too, because you do learn different stuff from people, and that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. That's why I enjoy it.
But yeah, we're more than welcome to be guests on other people's podcasts and like talk to people if they want to, like, and give insight. We start a coaching program, like life coaching. Like this, how you do shit.
I mean,
I do agree. Older people have like knowledge and resources, and people have new knowledge and trends, and good temperature on what's currently working. So it's like you can learn from anybody.
Yeah. I mean, you just gotta listen, man. You gotta listen and understand.
Put your ego aside.
Yeah, listen.
Get out of your own way.
I guess I would say listen with the closed ear, not like in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, people are gonna tell you something. It might sound a little funny. It might sound different. It might sound something like you would never do, but you can find some value in that. You know what I mean? Like it's, like I said, I've talked to a lot of people in different religions, different cultures, different mindsets, and even if it's one little thing or something that you'd be like, okay, I know not to do that, but you still learn something, some value of it.
Well, I think like the smallest change makes the biggest difference. The smallest difference makes the biggest difference. So just starting small, because the baby steps and the little wins count too. They put you in the trajectory you want to go down. And like I always say, there's multiple ways to get to your destination. And the analogy I give is the Walmart. If you want to go to Walmart, you take the back roads, the main roads, the freeway, a bike, a bus, a car, etc. You're going to get to where you want to get to regardless. But in the meantime, enjoy the ride.
I couldn't say better myself. Well, but no, that's true. That's true. I mean, damn, dude, we've been talking for a minute. I'm pretty sure we're probably past the time now, but I mean, damn, it has been very cool.
If you guys made it this far, type in the word "game" on the comments below.
Yeah, man. If you guys, like I said, what he said, if you guys got this far, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time, man.
We read all the comments, by the way. Love you guys.
Later, man.
When you're ready for recording.
Oh, that's what's up. Let's get this.